Big business, capitalism, we all understand the language, and black culture has driven much of it. There are 5 companies that leverage black culture to build their empires. So today's lecture is going to take a little snapshot at these companies, how black culture partnered with them to bring them billions, and how we benefited from those relationships, if at all. So I want to welcome you to today's lecture. I'm Lady Trinette Wilson, your lecturer and social historian. I want to thank everybody for being here. Hello, Royalers. And if this is your first time, hello and welcome. You all don't forget, hit that like, share, and subscribe. So let's get into our first company, the mustard boot. If anybody knows this boot, the black community knows this boot. These are called Timberlands, or in the black community, we call them, say it together, y'all, Tims. So the Tims were like the staple shoe for hip hop culture. And that's really where the two worlds kind of came together. Hip hop culture was emerging. You had 1973 being discovered. And then from there, which is the same year, by the way, that Timberlands was founded, that division, although there was a whole company, the Timberlands was a division of that company. The Swartz family owns used to own the Timberland company. So you had people like Nas and Biggie and the Wu-Tang Clan and so many others who incorporated the Timberland boot into their clothing. And so they would wear the clothing, and the first thing, that would stand out was this mustard colored boot. And they went on to make men boots, women boots. But initially, the Timberland was actually built for a utility boot. It was supposed to be for workers. And so the owner of the company, supposedly, allegedly, did an interview for the New York Times where he discussed kind of who the shoe was really meant for. And he called it, quote unquote, a hard-working person. So I don't know if he thought these hip hoppers were not. So check my Timberland video to see all of that, what came out of that. But the bottom line is, no matter what clothing company was birthed out of the black community, the Timberland boot was the staple. Timberland, from 1991, they were making $80 million. When the black culture began to embrace the boot and they started seeing them on every rapper, it went up to 500 million by 2000. Now, Timberland is not owned by anybody black, nor has anybody black had any significant, ownership in it. Now, after that interview that I just mentioned earlier, Timberland did invest black into the black community in different ways because they got a lot of backlash about that. So, Timberland boots made a lot of money, not black owned, and allegedly they're not really checking for us, or used to didn't be checking for us. After they saw the bottom line, they started lining up. Number 2, Adidas. Now, okay, I'm going to date myself, but everybody knows this if you were born anywhere or were, kind of like a teenager or adult in the 80s. My Adidas walk through closet doors, in room, all over Coliseum floors. Okay, I'm a lecturer, not a rapper, but I was a Run DMC fan, and I was in the building at their concert. Run DMC was the first one that really mentioned Adidas by name. They made them a lot of money. $26.4 billion in sales come from the black community. Of course, Yeezys and Adidas, broke the bank. The black community, however, was not really being acknowledged by Adidas, and they weren't investing in the black community. And isn't that true? So many times there are companies that move into black communities but don't invest in after school programs, work training programs, or even hiring the people within that community. They won't even build even warehouses in black communities. So this is a problem, and that's why I wanted to do this lecture, because a lot of times people say, well, the black community, they don't give, they don't have any money. We have changed the course of businesses throughout time. Our money matters, and how we spend our money matters. And if we're spending money with companies who don't give us anything back, all because of a name brand, then it speaks more to how we feel as a people versus what they're doing, because they're playing chess while we playing checkers. So that's just my thoughts on that, allegedly, and all that good stuff. But that's just the way I feel about it. Now, Adidas did start giving back to the black community. They did dedicate $120 million over 4 years. Now, mind you, they've made hundreds of billions of dollars, but they did 120 million, and 5% of that would be employees that are black. However, they have said, some black employees have said that that has not been reached, so that the diversity piece of that is still not present. They have said, some black employees have said that that has not been reached, so that the diversity piece of that is still not present. So you all do not keep wearing these people's stuff until they, do what's right. And why do we want to work there? Because they earn money from us. We go to the same universities. We get the same training. So it's not a matter of not being qualified. So that's just my thought. What do y'all think? Put it down below. Do you have any Adidas? Do you have any Timberlands? Listen, I've been guilty. I have all this stuff. I bought my kids this stuff before I came into the knowledge and understanding of who I am, what my money is worth, and the value of our dollar in this space. So put your comments down below. Number 3. Now, this is dated. Now, a lot of people may not remember this, but this is called the starter jacket. The starter jacket was made popular way back in the day. It was colorful, and I mean, that symbol is legendary. They're still around today. It was founded in 1971 by a man named David Beckerman. Now, between the 1980s and the 1990s, starter, they began to really grow because, again, rappers began to wear them in their videos. In fact, DJ Jazzy Jeff of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did a ad with them, and it really blew the company up. So the company began to grow, and so they started wearing all kinds of jackets, and their profit grew to $500 million in 1976. In 1992, it is said that it was over $700 million. Most of this investment coming from the black community. They are even so ensconced in the black community, their jacket is in the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. No black ownership or no significant black spokesmen either. So that's another thing that I saw with this. Some companies don't even need a spokesman for black people to still buy their stuff. We're their spokesman free. We're Timberland spokesmen for sure free. They've never had a black spokesman per se. You would be, it is interesting, however, to find out that Damon John used to work for Timberland. Definitely check out my video to see how he cut that relationship. It was something else. So, Starter was founded in 1971 by Beckerman, and again, they made all this money, but they have no black investments, and no weight was ever put on them to have any. Number 4, Cadillac. I'm not even really gonna say much about Cadillac. We already know they have made over $500 billion. And other than paying a few stars every now and then to do a commercial, they don't have any spokesman. They haven't done a Yeezy deal, if you will, with anybody black. But black people are the majority of the people who buy their car broken down on the side of the road. Our next one is Nike. Nike came on the scene, the Jordan, in 1985. This was the same year that he won Rookie of the Year. Nike made, in 1 year after releasing that shoe, $100 million. They have made billions since then. But I will say that Nike has given back into the black community in significant ways. They made a $140 million commitment over 10 years. And even personally, the owner of Nike, he gave $400 million to black residents in Portland. So they do give back to the black community, but they make a Brinks truck full of money on black people. Our last one is a bonus, number 6, Louis Vuitton. You know, I could not leave this conversation without them. Louis Vuitton has made over $124 billion. Now, there is no quantitative amount of how much dollars come from the urban community per se, but statistics say 31% black people are more likely to spend 31% of their income on luxury goods. So that is the organizations or companies that have made money and leveraged their companies and just grew because of the black dollar. Yet we are still not rich because of it. We need to come together, you all. We definitely do. And I want to leave you with something. I know this is not a religious channel, but in Proverbs 22:16, it says, don't give your money to a rich man because it'll lead to poverty. And many of these people who spend again 31% of their income on these things that matter to no one but them. So don't let name brands define who you are. So I thank you for joining me for another great episode. Please tell me down below, put your comments down below. What other brands do you think has exploited us and made money from? Do you have these products? And what are your ideas about how we can really come together as a community and leverage these billions of dollars that we're putting to other people's pockets? I know in the past it used to be, oh, we can't come together because we're crabs in a bucket. But I think we're reaching a critical point to where we're going to have to start moving as a unit, or we're going to be left in the dust. Homeless, hungry, all of that. So I think, we really need to start having this economic conversation on a more ongoing basis in a more results-driven trajectory, instead of, always talking about what is happening to us. What can we do to counter that financially? Y'all, let's talk about it. Let's continue to have our conversation down below. Thank you all for joining me for another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. Now listen, these for educational and entertainment purposes only, and the fair act use is in my description. Also, if you want to continue to learn, click down below. I'll keep great lessons down. Y'all, I want to thank you all for supporting this conversation. I want to thank you for supporting Royal Black and Elite. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.